So I did end up modifying this handle to take the spring out of the equation, basically. I just got some perforated sheet metal strapping like this, and I cut two little sections of it and bent it into an L shape and riveted it to the case and just drilled a hole right through for a number 10 screw. Drilled all the way through the handle and just put a 2-inch, just a 2-inch number 10 screw. And I happen to have an acorn nut. I used it just to keep the surfaces soft or no jagged cut edges, so it's not going to hang up on me like if it was a screw threaded sticking out there. But anyway, that took all the jiggle out of this rear of the handle. There's still a little in the front due to there's a rubber isolator up there, but it's solid in the back. It used to hang on a spring, and I believe that's why the wire broke eventually. It just couldn't, it was moving more than the wire would allow it to, so the wire just decided to break. But anyway, if you got one of these Ryobis and you can't get the cutoff switch to work, investigate the handle. You might find the wire broken right in here where it's hanging on that spring, and maybe you can do what I did to eliminate that by fixing it solidly. I just drilled and riveted very carefully, just drilled right into this plastic, and made sure I didn't go into the motor. There's an air gap in there. You just, as soon as you penetrate the plastic, you stop drilling, and popped a few rivets in there, put it together, and call it a day. And there's a close-up of the masterpiece. A masterpiece. There is, just using some, I use this stuff all the time for stuff like this. This comes in handy. Also, I don't know if you can notice, but I gently curved it with a long nose plier so that it matches the curve of this handle, so there's nothing sticking out. Just a touch of refinement here on the modification. So I'm working on my Ryobi leaf blower with jet fan technology, and originally I had a problem with the kill switch in this handle. It just would not, I couldn't get the motor to shut off, so I would have to flood it to shut it off, and I didn't really like doing that. But the first time the problem was in the switch, there was some piece of trash, like a particle of a leaf, had gotten onto the contact, and I just opened up the switch and put it back together, cleaned it out, and it worked fine for about a month, and then it quit again, quit responding to the switch. And so it took the switch out and tested it with my ohm meter, and the switch seemed to be okay this time. So I tried using some alligator clips to jumper these two wires. So basically, when you short these two wires together, it's supposed to kill the ignition, which is what the switch does here. It's normally open, manually closed when you press it. And so even with the alligator clips shorting these two wires, the motor continued to run. So I knew the problem, maybe the wiring, is it off. So I took the handle apart, and when I did, I noticed this black wire here was broken. So I wanted to take some resistance measurements here. I've got the ohm meter out, and I've hooked to the red wire here. And interestingly enough, the red wire actually goes to the metal case of the engine. So I read like 3.1 ohms. And this black wire here, it's broken, so I'm going to clip onto it up here. This black wire, when I measure the resistance to the engine case, I get almost 1 mega ohm, like 900K. And so that goes to the coil. The black wire here is going to the coil on the ignition for this unit. And so when you short the two wires out, it kills the ignition, the spark. So there you go. That's the weird. I was thinking that perhaps this red wire would go to the ignition since it's the only one with an insulator on it, but my thinking on it was backwards. And also, to let you know, the only tool I needed to get into this was a 25 Torx. Just like 4-5 screws. It holds this handle together. So now I'm going to go ahead and make the repair. I've got just a little bit of wire here to work with down here. It's just a little bit sticking out, and I think that's enough for me. I'm going to use a crimp ferrule on this piece. I just need to expose just a little bit. It's got a high temperature, like a fiberglass shroud, and luckily that's not conductive. There, that's plenty. So I'm going to be using these crimp ferrules. Hopefully I've got one here that's about the right size. I might, let's see. This might be about right. I need that wire to go in and then one more. Just going to be using just a piece of this wire here. It's I think it's 18 gauge. Doesn't take much. I'm just going to cut a piece off here, strip it. And this is my crimping ferrule tool. And I'm going to put the ferrule on this wire. Let's see. Actually, I don't know if I can get all that in one ferrule or not. Might have to go find a larger ferrule. Yeah, I'm going to need the next size up, I think. So I'll be right back. Alright, I got my other ferrule collection out here now. I'll go to the next size. This should handle everything. The way that works, you squeeze it and it clamps it in 4 directions at once. Let's see if I can get this ferrule in there. It only has to go once. There it is. Now I can put my crimper on there. And there's not much room. Hopefully there's enough there. We got it working. Let's see if that's enough to hold it. It's barely there. So now I'm going to put some heat shrink on there and make this wire a lot longer so there's not much strain on it. Looks like it's been flexed a lot. I'm going to cut it back a little bit more here. Get into it there. So I made my connection here. Now I'm just going to cut a piece of heat shrink to put on there for an insulation. Get that work down in there. I want that to go way down in there. Give me a lot lot of leeway there. And then I'm going to bring this up and make this a connection here inside this handle. I'll go ahead and have a piece of tape here already. This heat shrink tubing already on the wire. So let's see. Get one more of these. And now I have to do the connection slightly different this time because this particular crimp tool, the way it works, I don't want it to be stuck on my wire. I don't think I can get it out since it's got that terminal on it already at the end. So I got to put it on this way, which is okay. Put it on like that, and then I just turn it that way and run the heat shrink over it this way. Now I'm going to check it. I want to see, I should be getting almost a mega ohm here on that black wire. 1.4. Depends on where you touch it, I guess. Let's see what I get back here. 1.4. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and button this up, and I believe it's repaired. Kind of weird how all this fits together here. But I think that spring is what the problem was. All that flexing going on. Yeah, this thing's kind of hilarious to put together, but I'll get it figured out. I think that goes there. Alrighty, let's see. I think that long one must go there. And the rest of them look to be the same length. 3 more in the handle. You know, they made this handle to absorb the vibration, but at the expense of, this one's got a big head on it, so it must go here. The big head one goes there. Crazy. They use different screws. I wouldn't have done that. I'd use the same screw everywhere and just made it work. Save money. I wouldn't have made this handle vibrate either. I don't understand. Not like you're using it all day. So let's see if this sucker works now.